Alright, Cancer. Welcome to the new moon in Libra. How'd that full moon in Aries treat you? Hopefully it got you on the right track. Hopefully you feel renewed and rejuvenated and with a new sense of purpose. This new moon in Libra, Libra, we're talking about balancing and harmony, and for a lot of signs, creativity has come up, and that's a big thing we're going to talk about here tonight, Cancer. And relationships. But for a lot of the signs, Libra's been kind of tumultuous, right? It's caused problems that result in the balancing act. But for Cancer, I think you guys are going to sidestep a little bit of that drama. I feel like it's going to be a little gentler with you. So where other signs say have to take these strong stances and assert themselves or create boundaries or get into conflicts with people in their lives, for Cancer, I really feel like what it's going to do is bring you to this peaceful inward sense of self. The card that we the first card that comes out, central situation, is the Three of Pentacles. What was I just saying about creativity, guys? Libra is an artistic sign. It likes beauty, right? It likes the arts. And with Cancer, I'm a Cancer rising, and what are the things we do is one of our main qualities is being nurturing. That's what I was going to say. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Is being nurturing. It's being intuitive, right? That's one of our strongest traits, and taking care of the home, taking care of family, taking care of relationships, right? And I think what the Three of Pentacles is showing here is just this sort of how can I put this? Like putting new ideas to work, right? Like the Libra new moon is going to stimulate you to come up with new ways of doing things, right? All those things that you're good at, like creating a home, like healing, like nurturing, like getting in touch with yourself, there's going to be new open doorways for us. New ways to understand ourselves, right? To think outside the box. This came up kind of for Aquarius, this sense of letting your imagination fly and seeing what comes out. Because look, with the Three of Pentacles, he has his art on display. And that art isn't just something that was made. It was it comes from the inside, if that makes sense, right? It's this guy kind of putting himself on display. And that was something we talked about for the full moon in Aries, coming out of your shell. And look, Cancer, look where we're starting off with. Being outside of your shell. Now it almost feels like we can firmly stand outside of it and get used to this fucking world. Right? This outside world, this mundane world that we sometimes have trouble with. Because we prove to ourselves that we can. Right? And when we talk about being creative, it's about what makes us comfortable and how we feel comfortable doing that and being that way. How we take care of ourselves. How we take care of our families. How we feel about our jobs, right? This next card up is Temperance. This is when I was talking about balance and how it feels very internal for Cancer, to me, this is sort of rocky waters, becoming calm. I know that's not a classic definition of temperance. It is balance, it is art, it is creative force and energy. But right now, what I'm getting from this card is sort of an inner stillness. Cancer, we're very in touch with water. Like crabs, there's something on the card. Like crabs can deal with waves and they can live in the water. Like there's small things that know how to get knocked around and stand back up. But right now, what I'm feeling for the Libra new moon is like not getting knocked around so much anymore. Right? Like finding this place where like, I wouldn't say the worst is past, but yeah, sure, why not? The worst is past. That doesn't mean everything's perfect, but like the water's getting still. Right? That inner balance is being found. And that's a great thing for Cancer because Cancer is very sensitive. Right? Very go with the flow, very adaptable. Sometimes a little bit too much of a people pleaser, afraid of what people are going to say or think about them. So to have that peace of mind, that stillness, and it wasn't like the Four of Wands or like, Swords where you kind of get that peace of mind feel. Like this is sort of like real groundedness in the spirit. Right? Like it makes me feel like big things are going to happen, like changes are going to happen for Cancer. Because this is like this Cancer spirit, like being stable. Like the emotions, the intuition, the sense of self being stable. Because you have those ups and downs, Cancer, up and down, up and down. And like sometimes that personality, like shape-shifting thing, right? Where you can be one person in one room and one person in another. And like now it's like there's going to be more of a sense of like who you are underneath all that stuff. Like who you really are. Because the stillness is finally coming. Do you know what I'm saying with that? Like, I've been using the metaphor of like, for the Libra new moon of finding like a foundation to move from. And Cancers aren't used to like a foundation. We change a lot. Ten of Swords. This is sort of like feeling really good to me right now. What I'm getting from this is sort of like that worst has passed thing that I said before, but like just like getting over it. Like Cancers maybe like not giving any fucks anymore. Which is bringing this around, right? Like it's like fuck, like I've been knocked around a lot. Things haven't been going the way I thought they were going to be for a while. My relationships, my job, like all these things that I thought were a sure thing, like have been kind of crazy. But now it's like the worst is over. Like I've felt the pain. I've been through it for months. Like I'm over it. Like just fucking kill me so I can start over again. Not, but you know what I mean? Like it's time to just like release. And that's what the self-nurturing is about. It's about putting yourself first. You know, like Cancer does such a good job of putting other people first all the time. Like now it's time to balance that out and put ourselves first. Put our own well-being first. And then putting that happiness and that joy, like, for the whole world to see. Like, Cancer, when you're feeling good, like, you're awesome. Right? You're sweet and lovable and charming. And, you know, you can, we're kind of shy. Yeah, we're kind of quiet. But once you get out of the shell, like, you can do pretty well. Because it's sort of like, oh, I'm already out here. I might as well just, like, do my shit, right? And we're out of the shell. It's gonna be a lifetime of working for that, but like right now, in this new moon area, it's like it's safe to be out of the shell a little bit, because we already are, right? That was what the full moon was all about. again, like just out of the shell on display. Like the greatness of how you feel and who you are just on display. Like, how many times do I have to say, like, the worst is past? Cancer, like, this is a big shift for us. Shift, not shit. We're the shit. You're the shit. But shift. Shift. Like, death. Transformation. Change, like, moving forward. Like, it feels so good for me to say that to Cancer, like, besides, like, the Cancers I've known in my life have been a little stuck and, like, indecisive and, like, not really knowing what they want right now. And I feel like this is Cancer saying, fuck it, I'm just gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do what I want to do in my own way. That's that shape-shifting I was talking about. Like, just being so creative and about yourself and, like, what's possible. You know, very dreamy sign. Sometimes lost in fantasy a little bit, but at the best, it's like, you need fantasy to be creative, right? You need to have an imagination. You need to be able to dream. And I just feel like the mind is calm enough, the soul is, and the heart and the emotions and everything is calm enough that, like, now that's possible. Like, Cancer, I'm very encouraged. You know, this isn't like struggling to find balance. It's like, it's almost like this is the first sign I've read for that's almost kind of already there. You know, a lot of the other signs are working through it. A lot of the other signs have to, like, bear through shit. Like, it feels like Cancer is kind of there. Like, what else is there to say? The sun. Like, just pure joy and happiness and success and, like, everything's going right. Like we talked about last moon with, like, Cancer aligning themselves, aligning their lives with, like, their outer lives, inner lives with their outer lives, because we're so inner sometimes. But, like, look, the sun is radiant. The sun is, like, the definition of external and shining outwards and being bright and brilliant. You see what I'm saying here? Like, Cancer's kind of already there. Like, even these, like, super negative cards or that mean, like, hard traumatic things, like, don't feel that way because look what they're surrounded by. Temperance and the sun. Like, light, balance, peace. Feeling me, Cancer? Like, I'm feeling you right now. Like, I'm feeling you hard. Like, I'm very proud of you. And I don't say that to be condescending. I say it as in, like, again, as a Cancer rising, I know how difficult it can be sometimes to, like, come out of yourself, but I feel like you did it. Or, like, if it's not like you're more extroverted now, you at least, like, broke free of this kind of negative emotional, like, place that you're in. You know, we don't get it as dark as Scorpio, but we can get, like, pretty dark and go to places we don't like to go to where we don't feel empowered, right? So remember all these things I've been saying about, like, going in and getting to know yourself and, like, what you want and what you want to do. Like, we have the Hermit as one of the paths here. This isn't as dynamic as I expected because we were talking about this new moon. It kind of felt more to me like bold new ideas and, like, creativity and, like, ways of like venturing outwards, and the Hermit ventures out for sure. We'll see what else comes up the other paths to give it context, but either way, Cancer, like, I'm happy to see at the very least, like, you're getting in touch with yourself again. Like, this man, this Hermit, is like so in tune with his intuition. He honed it, right? Like, they say Cancers are like psychic by rule, like highly, highly intuitive sign. But when it's like all like up and down craziness, and you don't know which way is up, like, sure, you might get impressions and like ideas and like feel energy, but it's impossible to make sense of it, so it just gets overwhelming and starts to feel useless and like a burden more than a gift. But the Hermit is really grounded. You know? He has like some seership, but like very, very grounded. Very of this world. So let's see what we got next. That's what I was kind of hoping to see here. This is the energy I wanted. 9 of Cups, like fulfillment and happiness, and like this is a card that often represents like psychic abilities and divination. This is just like Cancer, like making, like, I feel like knocking down one obstacle after another, you know, and not in like a Aries like, yeah, I won, I beat them kind of way, but in like, look at me. Like, Cancer's like, look at me, I'm looking pretty good. Like, look what I just did. Look what I'm accomplishing. I feel good. Like, I feel really good. Like, this isn't bad, but this is a little more of the same with Cancer in terms of like withdrawing and being in isolation. Not always, it can be a personable sign, like Cancer likes people, but like too solitary. That's what I don't like. Like, this 9 of Cups with Cancer is just like I feel at peace. Like, it's almost like what's pouring from his cup is like filling these other cups. There you go. Drink up. Drink and be merry, Cancer. Things are good. Good times ahead. And then like I just feel again like when you get here to this place of like fulfillment and happiness, like this shines out. Your work starts to speak for itself. All that stuff we talked about with work and meaning, like, that's gonna show in the next 2 weeks. You know, to the point where by the Taurus full moon, like, you might start seeing, I want to say, like, monetary benefits. You know, like maybe making more or getting a raise, or it feels like there's opportunities that will present themselves. Like new opportunities. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if like you get a phone call out of the blue for a new job you've been wanting for a long time but gave up on. What were we just talking about? Like work and money, right? 8 of Pentacles, like satisfying, fulfilling work. Work that brings you pleasure and meaning and joy. Cancer, this is what's underlying all of this, is like you're going towards this. The 8 of Pentacles. You know, this is like a lower number in that suit, but it's almost as if like this like leads to that, like where it's just shining. like, I don't feel like the work is too much of an internal thing. It really feels more like it's just kind of riding the train that you're on of like being yourself. And like the more you try to be yourself in the world, the more you're going to get to know yourself. And the more you get to know yourself, the like more balanced and stable you become. And the more balanced and stable you become, the more you can like draw boundaries and say, I don't want your shit. Like where you can let the old ways go. I like this, Cancer. I really do. Like, I'm happy to see finally, like, one of the signs that, I hate to say it this way, but, like, doesn't really have to work too hard this moon. Like, it's almost like these things are just going to come so easily for you. Seven of Cups. Fantasy, imagination. At its worst, it can kind of be like illusion or delusion. But I don't feel that for you. You know why? Because we're talking about Cancer. We're talking about a sign that is very good with water. And I don't feel like as a whole right now, like the concern here is getting swept away in this. Like I don't feel that for you guys. I feel almost like this is empowering. Like this is exciting to you. Right? Like all the possibilities. Remember we talked about thinking about all the possibilities and being creative. Like look at all the different possibilities. For me right now, this isn't a distraction like it can be. Like this is vision. This is like renewed dreams. Like the things that you attain in the Nine of Cups like stem from this. From your reflection. It's almost like you went within and then you came out with like these different things about like that piece together, like make up who you are. So, you know, don't shy. I don't think I need to tell you this, but embrace your imagination, embrace your creativity. You know, some signs needed to be told that, but like that's what Cancers do really well. Like Cancer rising, and Gemini sun, I was the most daydreamiest motherfucker ever in school. I was a bad student, not because I wasn't smart, but because like I just didn't care. Like this was me at my worst. I was just like checked out. I was writing stories in my head. I was like thinking about tarot and stuff, like just natural daydreamers, natural fantasy. And I don't think that it's going to get carried away because again, that Libra balance is like you do you, boo. Do you, I got you, you're stable, you're safe, you're good. Nine of Wands. And you know, this means a lot of different things in terms of like going through it. Like this is kind of Cancer having gone through it. Like this guy's all beaten up, right? He has bandages on his head, he's wearing armor. And like the card sometimes represents like the suggestion that because of that, a person becomes on guard or defensive or paranoid. But also what I love about this deck is look at the top of what's on the wands. Their eyes. Eyes that are open or opening. Right? Like this struggle, these battles like brought this guy out wiser. Like his vision sharper. You know what I'm saying? So this is that knowing yourself. This is like the clear vision that like keeps this from becoming like overwhelming and too much and like too much fantasy. Like you've been through it enough that you have some power of discernment. You can tell what's right for you and what's not. And like maybe for the first time in a while, Cancer, like be able to assert it. To be able to speak it out. To be a leader of yourself. Like, again, we're talking about like aligning yourself with your higher purpose. Like the Hierophant is like the greater will, like brought down to earth. Like the living manifestation of that unknown spiritual self, right? And right now, Cancer, with everything we're talking about, like, this is you doing that very powerfully. Let me kick her ass. The cat. Sorry about that. Like, I try to keep the door closed and I try to get her to come in, and then she didn't want to come in, and it's half an hour in, and now she's like tearing up the rug trying to get into the door, and I'm just going to kill her. I didn't ask. No. My ex was the one who wanted a cat, and guess who has the cat now? I love her though, but she's a pain in the ass. Anyway. And now my door's open like a weird, eerie little crack behind me. Great. But here, back to the Hierophant. I'm sorry for that. That's exactly why I... Never mind. Please forgive me, Cancer. The Hierophant. Living your like truest self. Living your realest self. Like, how many times have we talked about, like, the material and financial repercussions of all this? Like, this is good. The Ace of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck. Like, the manifestation, the creativity, like, the money. I feel like this is very literally, like, talking about money. And like the promise of what's coming in, what's already started to come in. Under that, like the King of Wands, like so focused and driven, like he knows who he is and what he's doing, and he's going for it. Like with power and stability and strength. Like, Cancer, if there's one thing I could say about this reading here, it's like you're in the middle of a shift. You know, like things are changing. Look what came out again. Death. Like the end of the old ways. The end of like timid Cancer. Or at least like living your life that way. Because you're always going to be a little shy. That's our sign. But like there's just so much promise. Like it's okay. Like how could you not come out of your shell when you know that this is waiting for you? It's so funny. I've never once like seen this as such a positive card, and like right now for you guys, it is. It's like you and your element. This is nice, Cancer. The sun and the moon joining together, like, you know, Cancer loves love. And I feel right now like the possibility for like renewed romance. Renewed friendships. I don't feel like this is something brand new. We'll see what the other cards are, but I feel like this is like a renewal. Like, you're gonna feel comfortable with your people. You know? Like, and that's what's gonna be helping you feel empowered. Like what we were just saying about being with your people. Your sea otter, like the definition of friendliness and companionship and kinship. The people in your life in these next few weeks are going to be very important to you. I feel like a renewed sense of like rekindling relationships. Not that they died, but like giving them extra life. And those relationships giving you back life. Like, we started off here with death, and then what did we get to next? Like, union and kinship. I'm laughing because this card hasn't shown up for me ever since I had this deck until like the last reading I did for Leo? No, Virgo. Virgo. And what we talked about with Virgo was like nurturing yourself, keeping the fire burning, right? But I think for Cancer, it's going to be a little bit more on the nose, like things happening, taking action, like using this balance and this ability to like get fucking fired up, Cancer. Like to make shit happen. Like this is getting me fired up. I'm excited. Yeah. Yeah. Can't you tell? No, but seriously, like this feels so good. This doesn't just feel like active and moving. This feels like warm. Like that's the sense of this that I'm getting. Like Cancer's just very comfortable. Very at home. And what did I say before about movement, about change? Underneath that all is the rainbow and transition. Like Cancer is going places. So, you know, just be okay with letting certain things go. You know, as you get to know yourself again and like renew your sense of self and identity, what you want, like be okay with letting the old identities go. Like a shell that's too small. Right? Like be imaginative. Like let the vitality and the sparks just fly. Be with people. Your friends. Like pay attention to those relationships. It's so funny because I have a Cancer friend and we're going out tomorrow, and part of the reason we're going out tomorrow is because she's been working so much and I've been missing like hanging out. So myself and like two of her other friends, like she's like, I want to put effort in and like hang out with my friends. Like, this is the balancing act that you guys are doing. Like, that's so perfect. Like, that's exactly what Cancer is doing. Like, refueling the spirit, refueling the relationships, taking advantage of the balance that you've been working for and creating for yourself. And that's great because you deserve it and it's promising. Like, I just feel such peace with you guys. Like, this feels like it suits you very strongly. Like, your spirituality, your intuition in this energy is like empowering and exciting. And you're just letting it flow from the heavens to the earth. Like, Cancer is just like a channel for like their highest selves. Like, the Hierophant to me is like sort of aligning with your highest self, aligning with the greater will. Okay? Well, I hope that like offers you some guidance for the next 2 weeks. And like when we get to the Taurus full moon, I have a sense that, you know, it's not going to be as much about like this internal world because we're talking about Taurus, which is a very earthy, sensual, like sign. But like for now, Cancer, like I think it's time to just enjoy it a little bit. Like I told Capricorn to like go have fun, and that's not necessarily what you have to do. Like go have fun. Like I'm talking about with my friend how we're going like for dinner and drinks or whatever. But like indulge in that heart stuff. Indulge in that. Like you worked for it and now it's here. So enjoy it. Again, like Libra is like gifting you guys in a way that it hasn't with the others, where like everyone else was still kind of struggling, and now it's like Cancer, you get a break. So make the most of it. Okay? You better. Because that's what I want for myself too. And that's what you guys deserve. Like, so sweet, so loving, so caring all the time. Do you. Because you the bomb, Cancer. Like, bomb.com. I hated that reference in the middle of saying it. But you're the best. You the best! I'm done. Good night, Cancer.